Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ian Douglas, your Bishop Diocesan.
I'm Rowena Kemp, the chair of the Connecticut General Convention Deputation.
And I'm Suzy Burke, one of the lay deputies.
And we're here in front of Camden Yards, the home of the Baltimore Orioles, and it's on lunch break, during the first legislative day of the 80th General Convention. And we're here to give you an update on what's gone on so far, what we're looking forward to this afternoon in evening legislative sessions. And then tomorrow you'll hear from Bishop Laura and another clergy and lay deputy to keep everyone back in the Episcopal Church in Connecticut informed as to what we're doing here at the 80th General Convention. And with that, I'll turn to Rowena to say what's happening in the House of Deputies.
So we began our day with an amazing worship service led by our chaplain, Lester McKinsey of the Diocese of Los Angeles. And our sermon this morning was pre-recorded by presiding Bishop Curry, who reminded us that despite these times, to look to the rock.
Amen.
And we immediately had opportunity to do that because unfortunately we've had a number of technical problems, and so in the midst of all the technical issues, we read Colossians 3:12 through 17 and grounded ourselves, and heard from the public health physician who's here with us, reminding us to be vigilant and take our tests and wear our mask. And as you can see, we're outside, so we have the luxury of not wearing our mask for a few minutes.
As well, we passed a resolution appointing assistant secretaries, one of whom was our own Molly James, which was great. And we passed a resolution really in remembrance of St. Stephen's Church in Alabama, where the congregation was having a potluck supper to feed their neighbors, and 3 people were sitting at a table, and there was a stranger sitting off by himself. They invited him over, they shot them to death. So there was a very moving thought about that. And what no one has mentioned is we had a delightful dinner last night as a deputation. We came, walked 1,000 miles to get there. But we had just a terrific start of this general convention. And we're delighted to be here with you.
And in the House of Bishops this morning, we spent a lot of our time organizing ourselves for the work ahead of us. We had, which is always fun, the roll call of all the living bishops, whether you're here or not. We have to do that legally to go through who's present. We do have a quorum, that's a good thing. We also worshiped, and sadly we're worshiping as separate houses because of the COVID-19 restrictions, but we also shared in that wonderful sermon, pre-recorded sermon by our presiding bishop, Bishop Curry. After that, we spend more time with respect to honoring those bishops who have completed their Living Our Vows program, sometimes known as our Baby Bishop School. We learn to utilize our voting app. Those of you who come to our regular annual convention, the test question was the majority of bishops do like Old Bay seasoning. And then since then we've been on lunch break. This afternoon when we return, we'll take up the resolutions, specifically resolutions around liturgy will be coming before us, embracing and looking towards God's willing opportunities to use more expansive language to describe who God is in our lives. Sadly, at the end of the afternoon, Bishops United Against Gun Violence, of which I am one of the co-conveners, we normally have a pop-up prayer time where we pray for specifically concerns of those who are affected by gun violence. This pop-up time we will be doing actually 2 blocks from the convention center, close to the Hyatt Hotel, where yesterday, sadly, there was a killing from gun violence. So we are reminded, even while we are here, of the realities of the pandemic of gun violence in our midst. And today, when the House of Bishops conclude, we will go to that corner and pray for both the person who died from gunshot wounds yesterday, as well as the perpetrator. So and then tonight we'll be back, more resolutions, and tomorrow Bishop Laura and 2 other deputies and will be here to report. What's going to happen for you this afternoon?
Well, with luck, we'll be able to use our software.
Technology.
Otherwise, we're going to practice patience.
Yes.
And I believe you have on your special order of business to consider the resolutions A125,
yeah.
127, and 131,
Yeah.
which were brought by the working group on truth-telling, reckoning, and healing, looking at recommitting our church's efforts in new ways and expanded ways to dismantle the realities of racism, white supremacy, and anti-Black bias in our midst.
Yeah.
And if you haven't read the working group's report already, I would absolutely commend it to you. It's so powerful, both the research that you all did and the resolutions that we're creating as a result of it. And I think we've got a lot to take from that in Connecticut. And I would also encourage you to just Google PB Bishop Curry's address at the start of the 80th General Convention, and you'll find the whole thing on YouTube. It's wonderful.
Well, I'm getting hot. The sun is warm here. And so Bishop Laura will be with you tomorrow and 2 other deputies, and I'll see you on Sunday. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.